everyone, welcome back to XVolt Productions, and today we're going to be talking about old tech. Wait, wrong brand. We're actually going to be talking about my old Mac collection. As you've seen in the past, I have both MacBooks and iMacs, and today I'm going to be talking about all of them, starting from oldest to newest. This is my 17-inch iMac G4. It actually doesn't work anymore. It used to. I have pictures of it working, but it doesn't anymore. I don't know what happened. I think the hard drive's messed up, in all honesty. It doesn't even make the bong anymore. And yes, I've tried to do a PRAM reset and boot from a USB, but it doesn't accept keyboard responses for some reason. So the only thing I really have to do anymore is just sit there and look nice, because I've always wanted a G4. I wish it still worked. Last I checked, it was running macOS 10.4 Tiger. You can upgrade it to 10.5 Leopard, but when I went to go do that is when the hard drive actually stopped working. So I'm guessing the hard drive finally died after 21 years? But I don't really know, because getting a repair on that thing is freaking hard. Next up is my very first Old Mac. This is actually what inspired me to get into collecting Macs. I got this March of last year. It is a 2006 iMac. This iMac is currently running macOS 10.7 Lion, and this is actually the same iMac that I made a video on back in 2022. Oh yeah, and one thing I forgot to mention with the G4, I got that G4 from OfferUp for $100. What about this iMac? Actually, I got this one for free because I just so happened to meet someone who had one of these, and they asked me, hey, do you want this? And I said, sure, I'll take it. Next up, the first MacBook. This is a 2009 Polycarbonate MacBook. This MacBook is currently running macOS 10.8 Mountain Lion. It can go up to macOS El Capitan, but I decided to keep it on 10.8 because it really doesn't feel right having a less skeuomorphic operating system on such an old system. I got this MacBook from a local thrift store called Red, White, and Blue Thrift Store for about $35. One issue I did have with it, besides the battery not being able to hold a charge, when I bought this MacBook, it had no password and all of the previous user's data. I was able to see pretty much everything about the past owner's life. This is a PSA. Before you sell your old computers, please wipe them. I don't want to see your data. But what I did get from this, which is the only thing I really looked at, was that this MacBook was actually purchased new in 2009 and was used up until around June of 2016, when I'm assuming the battery crapped out and this thing kind of went out of date. Another issue that took me a little while to notice is that the display is kind of messed up. I'm guessing the display is loose and the connector inside is also loose, which creates that effect. But getting inside one of these things is notoriously difficult, so I haven't bothered doing that yet. Next up is a bottom rubber mid-2010 unibody MacBook. One major thing that sets this apart from the 2009, the battery actually holds a charge, which is incredible. Right now, I have the MacBook running macOS High Sierra, which is the highest OS that this thing can support. Now, when I first saw this, I thought, this thing is kind of old to be running it, especially since it's got a Core 2 Duo. But here's an interesting thing. This MacBook has been upgraded at some point in time because it has a solid-state drive. It's not very big, but the SSD makes this thing feel like new, especially on the newest operating system this thing can run. It has also had a memory upgrade, but I did that on my current MacBook too, so it's not that big of a deal. This thing was actually used pretty recently. When I took a look at it, I found a lot of files from 2020, but not really many from before or after. Oh yeah, and before I forget, I got this MacBook from the same thrift store I got the other one from. And I got it for $35 as well, because everything on the store was half off except for certain things. This was one of them. This would have been $70. You can see, for being such an old battery, it actually still has a pretty decent battery health. It's 76 isn't bad, but it isn't good either. While it may look and feel pretty old, I actually wouldn't mind using this as a regular computer, especially since it runs the newest operating system really well for the performance that it provides. I mean, hell, I'm going to talk about this later, but my MacBook runs High Sierra, and I'm going to have to upgrade that to an SSD too, because an SSD upgrade really is a lot for these old MacBooks. It basically brings a whole new life to them. Here's one that quite a few of you guys will be quite well acquainted with. This is my mid-2010 21-inch iMac, and I made a whole video about this back when I got it about a month ago. If you guys don't remember, I got this iMac for $65 on eBay. It's actually more $70 with like all the shipping and stuff. Yeah, it still runs a bit slow because it does have a mechanical hard drive and is running the latest operating system that this thing can handle, macOS High Sierra, and like I said, SSD upgrades go a long way with these older computers. One issue that I have made pretty well known with this iMac is that because there is no optical drive, the optical drive fan goes at full blast because it doesn't know what temperature the non-existent optical drive is at. So I did install a program to help me with that, and I just set it to whatever value. In the future, I am going to be using this as a daily driver, mostly in college, which it should do me pretty well because I don't really do many intensive tasks, and you can see I've kind of already personalized it. I've got Discord, I've got Adobe Flash and Photoshop and some animation stuff. Even got Firefox and my own custom desktop, which I'm not going to explain. It does run a little bit slow when I turn it on, but it works for what it is, and I do plan on upgrading it when I get around to doing that, but I don't have any parts to actually upgrade this, so and I don't really plan on using this for another year, so it's just mostly going to sit here, and if I want to, I'll do miscellaneous stuff on it. Last but not least, it's the one I showed at the beginning, my personal 2012 MacBook Pro. Despite the fact that this MacBook can go all the way up to macOS Catalina, I decided to leave it on macOS High Sierra because it's the minimum OS that still has pretty good app support and also runs pretty well on this computer. I actually do use this pretty often, mostly for watching videos, but I've done quite a handful of things on it. I also got this one for free as it was given to me by someone who didn't need it anymore. And yeah, this also has great battery life. It has about 90% capacity. Thanks for watching my old Mac collection. I really enjoyed doing stuff like this, and I appreciate it if you enjoyed this video as well. I know my collection isn't as big as some other people who collect old iMacs and MacBooks, but this is already quite a lot. I don't have a lot of space in my room. So, thanks for watching. See ya.